I have tried 4 or 5 times, 6 times to make this video over the last few days. Last night during a storm, and the rain was hitting the tin roof, and there was rolling thunder and flashes of light coming in the window, and I wasn't aiming at me, I was actually aiming at things, but with candles, and it was all very atmospheric and lovely. But I wasn't happy with it, and I've tried again. This is my 3rd time right now. This is very unlike me, but give it one more shot. Yes, it's about Barry Morphew, and some things that are going around about the case of his missing wife, Suzanne. And topics are Fooses Dam and the Arkansas River, clothing found, law enforcement accused of corruption, one-track investigations, such as, let's say people are investigating these vigilantes, and all they're looking at is this. Okay, doesn't make sense. And Poncha Springs Cafe, Holiday Inn Express, and locations. So let's see if I can just be a bit more succinct. Why do I have this here? Just quickly, few of you burn incense, and I just really want to let you know, if you're not aware already, how carcinogenic burning incense is, and the particulates that you're breathing in are super dangerous. So what I use, can you see? This is from a tree, and the seeds have come out of here, and this has been sanded, but some of it has been left with the fluffiness of the seed pod. Isn't it beautiful? And on its own, it's just a lovely little object. But then it's got a hole drilled at the top, and I put a couple of drops of essential oil in there. And at the moment, I'm using this sage. It's from the Flowering Tips sage oil. And honestly, this goes throughout several rooms just from doing that. So that's a nice way to use scent for, healing or just enjoyment and ambience. Yeah. Unlike this one, this Jarrabil has a little glass tube inserted in there, because if you wanted to put something that was, needing a little bit of water, you could use it like a little vase. Anywho, when you say that law enforcement have found an item and you say what it is with surety, when you say this item was found north up a hill from where the bike was found, what are you actually saying, people? You know who you are? You're saying there's a leak. You're saying CBI, Chaffey County, or FBI, law enforcement, are giving away secrets of a case, and they are derailing any court case in the future. They are corrupt. Is that what you're saying? That they're giving it away, or that you're buying information, or that you're just abusing relationships to get information? Is this what you're saying? Because that's what you're saying. So you're saying law enforcement are giving away information, that they're corrupt, that the case isn't safe, that it's being violated, just like Suzanne's memory is. Yeah, that's what you're saying. profiling evil insist on having, let's just say, this is a map. Let's just say this is Highway 50. Let's just say this is 225. Suzanne's bike's found here. They're saying the helmet was found here, up on this little hill going north, when law enforcement have been very clear that west of 250 and 225 is where an item was found. It suits Andrew Mormon to say it was. He said, oh, I walked down this hill within 20 feet of it. Yeah, Andrew, I believe that your spindly little arms could drop something nearly 20 feet away from you, sure. It wasn't found here, unless you're saying that you have corrupted the investigation or someone is endangering the investigation. Okay, that's north. It's northeast where you place it. The reason why you place it there is because it suits your mountain line theory, or not, rather, because you're saying that mountain lions don't take things up the hill. Just because Barry's sort of my underarm. This arm sweats and the other one doesn't. I don't grow any hair under my underarms. I've often thought I want Botox. Doesn't smell. Sorry. I had to address it because you can see it. So, down here at Fooses Dam, where some male clothing items were found. And from where the bike is, the river, Arkansas River, runs down to Salida. If Suzanne did end up in the river like bloodhounds apparently, but this is only according to Barry Morphew, bloodhounds followed a scent down to the river. So did that river carry Suzanne Morphew's scent down to River Beach and down past Longhorn Ranch? So, has Suzanne's body gone down this river? The river was raging. The snow melt was happening. The river was loud. It was drowning everything out within hundreds of meters either side. If you were standing near the river, you'd have to yell to be heard. But no, this is made up. This is made up. PE are telling you this, and Andrew might be insisting that it's true, but Andrew knows fuck all. If Andrew says anything about the investigation other than what's been told to you by law enforcement, then he's accusing them of corruption or unprofessionalism in the very least, of having a leak, or he's just making it dam up, like he has with a lot of things, okay? Andrew Mormon says a lot of things. He doesn't care that he's found out later that it's a lie because it serves his purpose at the time. Another thing that he says, though, and there's witnesses, so I'm more inclined to believe this, is that he says Puma Path, this way, where Suzanne would normally take her bike down to Salida, as say on a Sunday morning she was going down to her favourite Poncha Springs Cafe, it was flooded. He and his search party couldn't get through here. Means Suzanne couldn't bike that way either. Suzanne had to take her bike up to the junction of 225 and Highway 50 and go down Highway 50 to Salida. She would have been right where her bike was found if she's gone for this bike ride. And this leads to Poncha Springs Cafe and why Barry Mormon would be down there. Well, if it's a cafe that you regularly frequent with your wife, you might think she headed there. It's somewhere you're going to go. It might seem deranged, unusual, desperate. Well, you're feeling all of those things, aren't you? And you would 100% go there, regardless of how illogical it seems, because the bike was up at Maysville. Okay, I'd go there. And when you go there and you see, sorry, I'm yelling. When you go there and you see the cafe owner that knows your wife, Suzanne, by sight, I'm not saying they socialised together, but this is a cafe that Barry and Suzanne frequented. You don't write down her description. You don't write down brown hair, blue eyes, 5'2", whatever she was. I think she's, or I wouldn't say brown hair, green eyes, 5'3.5". Because you're writing that down for someone that knows her. You just want to know if the items are there. And that's why he was dumpster diving. He's looking to see if something was discarded there. Was she kidnapped from there? And hey, she might have made it down there and been taken all the way back up again. But then why would someone know to discard the bike there? When I first made videos, I did discuss that, look, this is very easy walkable distance for Barry Morphew to walk through the woods and leave a bike there so that, neighbours aren't hearing vehicles and things. And so, if Suzanne was taken from somewhere else, it's definitely someone that knows where she lives, isn't it? Because the bike, unless, she's been abducted because she was on her bike at that spot. So Fooses Dam, it's not a lake, Linda, it's a dam. And Fooses Dam is west. Yep, west. And west of this junction is where an item was found. Now, men's clothing was found down there. Hopefully that is in the possession of law enforcement. We've got the scene being destroyed. Now, it doesn't matter if there was 1, 2, 5, 25 people through there, 1, 2, 3, 5 cars. It wasn't secured. And yeah, tracks and marks and things have been destroyed. I hope there's photographic evidence, but were markers put down on places and photographed? Is there a good record of the scene? Because it's going to need to be examined. And, law enforcement may well have dropped the ball. In Colorado, there's been 2 other major cases where we feel like the ball has been dropped. Frederick County, shutting up shop as soon as that walking shit-stain Chris Watts took his polygraph and confessed. They just shut up shop, put up a plaque in their own honour, but they shut up shop. So we feel like the investigation wasn't over. And they did go back and talk to Christopher when he was in one of the jails. We've all listened to 5 hours of tape. It's missing an hour. So we're all very dissatisfied and angry about that. And, you've got, forgive me, I can't remember the county that Gannon Stalk was in, but we've got Gannon Stalk, an 11-year-old boy, not being listed as missing. He was listed as a runaway for way too long, should have been instantly missing. And you've got Letitia Harden driving around discarding evidence, doing some sort of warped merry dance all over Denver, and then taking little Gannon Stalk's body in the caravan of cars, no doubt, that were there. She was allowed to leave with his body and dump him in Florida. So there is precedence for law enforcement in Colorado to not be trusted wholly, to lose a little bit of faith in their abilities to satisfy, the public with the quality of their investigations, okay? And Holiday Inn Express, this is another thing too, because it's rumoured that they didn't get there in time to take film footage. I don't know if this is rumour or not, or if it, because surely they would have gone there on the Sunday night. This is why we are so frustrated, isn't it? We want assurance. What due process did the cops follow? Did they go immediately and dispatch either Denver police or drive down there immediately Sunday night or Monday morning, find those workers of Barry Morphew's, Morgan Gentile and Jeff Puckett, in the room? Is this just Jeff's fantasy, thinking he can get away with explaining what a slob he is? I made a video on September the 6th. I called it Something's Burning, and I think it's meth. Because, meth, when it's burned, depending on how it's been manufactured, these synthetic drugs and everything, what's in them, it can smell like chlorine when it's burned. So, I speculated, just as not being serious, that, Morgan and Jeff were just down there smoking meth and enjoying the pool and just being in Denver and away from Salida and, you know, having a holiday on the coin of their boss, right? One would hope that the cops were down there immediately and found them there and, you know, maybe sent them on the way because they wanted to inspect the room and take evidence from the room, from the pipes, from, you know, the drains and everything like that, and get the photographic evidence from cameras that Barry Morphew was there. Because you need to be on the ball these days with missing people cases. If you're in at this grassroots level of the instant someone's gone missing, it's not weeks later, it's straight away, isn't it? So, you know, it's the opportunity to gather evidence to get a conviction. So, you know, not let it go cold. But that's, I don't know if that's rumour or not. And I'm hoping that they haven't just turned up 2 weeks later, or we better go to the Holiday Inn Express. That is so lax, isn't it? But we don't know. And if anyone, you know, yeah, we don't know. Holiday Inn Express housekeeper and the Poncha Cafe Springs manageress are friends. Yeah, so why didn't Lauren Scharf ask the Poncha Cafe Springs manager? Why didn't she ask Barry about the note given to the manager? So Barry, is it baby blue bike helmet? Is it baby blue bike and helmet? Why did you write that note? Did you write that note? What did you mean? Did she just not get the answer she wanted, so that was never aired? Because you'd think an intrepid reporter, I mean, that would be one of the first things I'd be asking Barry Morphew is about all those things, you know, because it's such a big question. Speaking of questions, all of you that are questioning the 5 a.m. narrative, well, in that case, why aren't you pursuing all these other options? Have you gone to the campsite where Macy and Mallory went? Have you retraced their steps? Have you asked witnesses? You know, are you considering that Suzanne left with Macy and Mallory then? The abductor theory, are you following up? Have you found that white van? Are you assured that the stalker it's alluded to, that Suzanne have you crossed that off your list? Because there was a people abducting women into a van in June in Colorado. There's, you know, are you investigating Jeffrey Puckett because he's got sexual assault history and he's got pending cases where he has assaulted the wife of a boss? You know, there's plenty. You've just dropped it like hot coals, some of you vigilantes. You've ruined children's lives because they're going to find this information. You've talked about their mother and you've said that they are the love child of Barry Morphew. What's going to happen when they grow up? Proud of yourselves? But you seem to have just dismissed that because, you know, you're just entertaining yourselves. You're not investigating. You're just documenting this. You're trying to document this. And you're not looking at the tree that it's fallen off. Where did it actually come from? What are the origins? You know, why are the police going to Indiana so often? You know, who are they investigating there? So, you know, you've got the water. You've got west of the bike is Fooses Dam, Monarch Pass. Items could have been found anywhere there. This is downhill, okay? This is downhill, not uphill, downhill. West goes down. It just doesn't suit some people. So they just make up what they want. And basically what they're doing then, if you accept it, is they are saying that they've got insider knowledge. What does that mean for an investigation? What does that say about law enforcement? So you're going to accept that they're saying that law enforcement in Colorado is corrupt? Hey, well, maybe. Well, maybe you should be investigating then. How are they getting their information? Because they're not telling Andrew Mormon. You know, did I talk about Puma Path in this version of my thing already, how it was flooded? Andrew Mormon, it's one of the only things I probably believe that he said because actually he had people with him. So Suzanne had to go past that spot on the highway because it was flooded down the Puma Path that goes to the slider and all the way to Denver. And she wouldn't have been able to traverse with her bike through there. And she would have been heading to this cafe possibly. It explains why Barry has gone there. It explains the note. It explains why her bike might have been found where she was. Are you investigating the person that said they were at the RV park or leaving the RV park? It was Sunday about 11 o'clock and they heard a woman say, "Help, I've been kidnapped." And they saw a van. Now, this has been quashed. So we don't know. Is this for reals? Was this just a joke? I can't work this bit out. But that's what should be investigated. If you're a true investigator, you're finding that out. You're not just ignoring it because it's not convenient, because the person you want to persecute is helped by it. You know, yeah. So the scent, if Suzanne ended up in the dam somehow, has the scent gone, or in the river, has the scent gone down the river, landed on River Beach, gone around past Longhorn Ranch, where boulders taken out of the river and put onto Longhorn Ranch. You know, so if those dogs are real, if they really did scent something there, I mean, they didn't give good hits. They didn't. That's just bullshit. But, you know, is it because Suzanne was in the river? Barry Morphew is probably completely 100% right on that one. So, you know, adventures with purpose going there. They, you know, the river way down through the town. Is it possible that a body has gone out through Salida, through the little towns along there? Where are the pockets in the river that she could be dragged under and then lodged? You know, it is a good idea to check that river, and maybe that's what Barry was doing when he was found, cold, wet, devastated looking. You know, and when Barry says things like, you know, the girls were going to take them out for Mother's Day, they'd be taking Barry's mum. Maybe she was there. Maybe she's already been living in the area. I don't know. Did she arrive after Suzanne went missing to support Barry, or did she already live there? Because we know she's moving to Longhorn Ranch. Looks like both families, or the mum and Suzanne and Barry and the daughters, were going to live down at Longhorn Ranch, build their dream home. You know, that Puma Path home is a perfect investment. And who are you to say how people should manage their money? This is what Anderson's law firm is. This is why they went to university and got their degrees and set up that practice, so that they can tell people how to do 5013C, how to use trust to save their money, not give it to the government. And you can all do it with your LLCs and your 5013C that is basically running Profiling Evil, because the Cold Case Foundation is 5013C. It's all right for you, not all right for Barry Morphew and Suzanne Morphew to try and make as much money as possible. They both liked a glamorous life. Suzanne and Barry both liked the good life. Suzanne said herself in that letter, you know, you bring excitement to my marriage. And they certainly look like they're having a really great time in a lot of their photos, don't they? And to live an exciting life, I mean, money helps. You know, exciting holidays, going overseas, going to resorts, chasing the sun, being able to live in a beautiful town like Salida in the Colorado foothills, you know, takes money, doesn't it? And who's to say they weren't together on that? Suzanne took her money away from the Mormon family. She wanted to invest it in her own nuclear family, the family that supported her, the family that she loved. And the Mormons have got their nose out of joint about that. Vigilantes, you need to do a thorough investigation if you're going to do it. There's many things here that you can find out. Suzanne Stalker, how she could have ended up in the river and what that means with regard to scent or where her body is. The campground, ticking things off. It's ticking things off. It's not trying to find things and bring them in. It's ticking things off, okay? So you need to know then. You need to be assured then, okay, well, did Suzanne leave with the girls. I mean, there are people say that this is a sacrifice, and or you know, a psyop, another psyop, or this, that, the other. I don't know. I tend to think with things that turn up like numbers and stuff like that, you know, if I was to get really conspiratorial about it, I'd say, well, it's just that because we're becoming aware of the simulation, and more and more coinkydinks and things, more and more weird things like birth dates and names are just going to be coming into, you know, our consciousness, or into our stories, you know. But, you know, there's people that they talk about the Freemason aspect, about satanic ritual abuse aspect. Certainly, if you look at the dates in this case, SRA would be a good call if this was something that was true and happening. It would be the perfect call. So there's all these conspiracies and ideas and things, you know, but the investigators, the vigilantes I'm talking about, you don't know these things about law enforcement that are being put out there with regards to where they're at with the investigation, what they know, who they're investigating, what was found or not found, what's been documented or not documented. You don't know, but you are tormenting people based on your own assumptions, based on your own trigger points, based on your own hurt, based on your own life experience or whatever, or based on the buoyancy that you're getting from what you're doing in this case, because, you know, you've got people hero worshipping you for being violent, aggressive busybodies. You know, the true crime community, I refuse to call it that now. As you all know, this year I just said that's it. I'm taking the community out of this. But, you know, it used to be a place where individuals, where citizens could come and discuss facts as they came to light, discuss our life experiences and how they related to what we knew about a case. And we could follow a case, we could talk about it, we could, it was an emotional outlet. We could also try and solve it, but there didn't seem to be this vigilantism and people inserting themselves into cases for fame and money and heroism. You can take that back. You can keep taking that back and think, okay, well, how far would someone go? Would they create a case so that they can create an investigation? I mean, that's getting pretty wild, but, it's as valid as anything else. If some of the things that are said about this case are taken as fact, you could get really wacky with it. But an investigation isn't just about looking at this because the cork's missing. It's about everything else, and you're just refusing to acknowledge that there are 100 other things that need to be investigated: people, events, timelines, motives. It's intelligent to list as many motives and suspects as possible and to investigate it all. Having this one-track mind is very dangerous. Yeah, this vigilantism. I was just reading, looking. I'm going to look it up. There's a lynching case Michael Catt mentioned on his live this morning. I'm just trying to remember the name, but look, you can, I'll put a link at some point in this video. You can come back and look for it. I'll try and keep this under 30, so I've got 40 seconds. But, there are cases where people have gone out and lynched citizens because they've just decided that, they're guilty of something. And off they've gone and they've hung someone from a tree. Are we going to find Barry hanging from a tree, either lynched or suicided? Yeah. Anyway, sorry, this is really long, and I'm sorry it's boring. Thanks for watching if you have, and I'll see you in the comments, no doubt. Bye.